What is a makefile? A makefile is a text file that contains a set of directives or commands that you can create to help automate the compilation of files required to run a program. Once set up, all you have to run from the terminal is the make command, and everything required to run your program will be generated. Furthermore, they make it really easy for others to compile your code, and makefiles can be specified to only compile what needs to be compiled, which saves time on large multi-file programs. It can get really tedious calling GCC each time you need to compile. How exactly do I execute my makefile? In a terminal, within the directory of your program files and your makefile, simply execute the command make followed by the name of the target you wish to run. If you do not specify a target, it will run the very first one specified in your makefile. What are targets? A target is the output of a makefile. You need to specify for each target what files a target depends on, called dependencies. Once specified, calling make will then get the makefile to check and see if any of the dependency files are newer than the last created target output, and if so, it will recompile the target to work with the updated files. For each target, you can specify commands to be executed, and naturally, you'd put in your compilation commands. For example, gcc-wall-std equals c99 file.c. We'll go over a simple example later in this video. Alright, let's walk through the process of making a simple makefile. Here's a little program I've created that prints Hello World to the console. So, let's go ahead and create a file named makefile. First, I'm going to name my target. Let's call it demo. Then I'll put a colon and specify the dependency helloworld.c. Then a new line. Then, before I specify what compilation command to do, I'll put in a tab. This part is super important, and if it's not indented with a tab, the makefile won't work. Now I can write my command, which I've copied down for simplicity's sake. You'll notice that I've named the output of my program simply Hello World. Saving and returning to the terminal, I can execute the command make demo, and my program will compile, and then we can check. Awesome, it works as expected. Makefiles are fussy. In order to recognize a makefile, your makefile must be named makefile all lowercase or makefile with a capital M with no file extension. It can't be named anything else. Your dependencies must also follow the target by a colon, and the commands you've specified for said target must be on a new line indented by a tab. It must be a tab and not spaces, or else your makefile will not work. Some text editors can be weird about that kind of text formatting, so be careful if you're not using a command line text editor. What's the clean target? The clean target is also another super helpful aspect of makefiles. You set it up in such a way that calling the clean target restores the directory to the state it was prior to the compilation and execution of your program. For example, say your program is designed in such a way that it outputs a text file on every execution, and after many executions, the program's directory can get rather cluttered. A clean target can be called to tidy all that up for you. You can call this target by executing make clean. Since clean does not produce an output, this is what we call a phony target. In your assignments, and in good practice, typically you're required to have a clean rule that removes your .o object files, your executable files, and any core files created. This can simply be done by writing the command rm-f star.o, your executable name, followed by core, under your clean target. Particularly, the -f flag will force rm to attempt to delete files without prompting you each time. Executing just make. In class, for your labs and assignments, the expectation is that just running the command make without specifying a rule will produce the executable as specified in your lab, so make sure your makefile is set up properly, having the right target listed first. Just to show you a few things, let's go back into the makefile. and get rid of that tab that Makefiles are so fussy about. And if we just used a couple spaces, saved it, and exited, let's try running make again. You'll notice that it throws an error, and then the Makefile doesn't work at all. So let's go back and fix it. Save it, exit, and run make demo again. Awesome, it works. Another cool thing about Makefiles, if you simply run the command make, it will run the first target that you've specified in your Makefile, if you had a couple in there. Now, let's go through the process of making a phony clean target. You put it in your Makefile, just like any other target, but this time without dependencies. Then, put in your command, and in this case, we'll use a -rm command, which I've also copied for simplicity's sake. You'll notice that it's set up to remove all .o files, my executable, and any core files, should there be any. Let's save and exit. Before we test it, let's call ls to check out what files are in our directory, just to see the effects of the clean target. You can see that my executable file is still there. Awesome. So let's call make clean. Looks like it worked. So let's call ls one more time. Awesome. The executable file is gone, and the directory is back to the way it was when we started.